Huge changes are coming to Meta ads, and several of these are on the actual creatives that users see and interact with, which will have a massive impact on performance. Because when you change the actual ad unit, you change user behavior, which changes everything. Last month, I went to Meta's Performance Summit to learn about these new changes, and then I went to Cannes Lions for a private press briefing with Meta to do a deep dive on the 11 biggest ones. And now we're gonna go through everything. Now, the first 3 updates have to do with Meta's new Business AI. Business AI is essentially the ability to create AI agents within the Meta ecosystem. Specifically, these are going to be more like customer service agents that you can use to communicate with your customers on WhatsApp, Messenger, and even ads. You'll be able to use them to respond to customers and users in real time on things like shipping, promo codes, and even frequently asked questions. Now, Meta's Business AI is currently available on beta. You can join the waitlist in the description below. But as for these actual updates, number 1, they announced that they have new tools for you to use to actually train and test your agents. Specifically, you're now going to be able to train your agents on your content as well as your product catalog. And again, you're going to be able to specifically choose what you want these AI agents to tackle versus what you'd prefer a human to tackle. So it is really customizable. I am particularly really excited about Business AI for the ability to communicate with customers in the comments section. Actually, these next 2 updates make me think that Meta is actually trying to push us out of the comments section. Let me show you this first one. So their first wave of expanding Meta's Business AI on ads is actually through these FAQ or question bubbles that are going to start showing up on the ad creative units. And again, it's my understanding that you're going to be able to toggle on and off whether or not you want this to show up at all, and potentially also which questions or types of bubbles are showing up. However, the question that this raises for me immediately is, are we trying to drive people out of the comments section, which can actually be a really fruitful community for people interacting back and forth? I feel that people really trust other people and their experience with products as opposed to an AI's experience on behalf of the brand. I also personally wonder if these bubbles are going to signal more that something is an ad. So it's my personal belief at this point that I'm not sure that this is going to improve performance a ton and might be something that will actually decrease performance. But I'm really curious what you guys think, so let me know in the comments. Now, number 3 I think is really cool. Actually, when I first saw it at the Meta Performance Summit, I had a wow moment. And I actually just want to show it to you guys first before I explain it.
Hi, Maya. Any questions about this product?
I need to pick out a birthday gift for my sister. She's turning 28 and she's really into comfy outfits, anything cozy and relaxed.
For comfort and style, I suggest our lightweight flex pants. They're breathable, relaxed, and have that effortlessly put together vibe.
That's right. You are going to be able to use your Business AI to communicate with users verbally on ads and actually have your AI respond to users in real time verbally. So again, I'm really excited about this one. It definitely has a wow factor, but I am so curious for what this is going to do for people who really do convert based off of that community interaction. I personally wonder too if, this might be something that people that are a little bit older or younger tend to utilize more. So I'm really interested to see, as I start testing this with more brands, what those demographic breakdowns actually look like for the people who are interacting with it. Now, the next 6 updates are all about Meta's Gen AI creative features. Now, I actually did a video last year that broke down all of these new features. So things like text generation and background generation on ads, as well as new image gen. They've been doubling down a lot on Gen AI for creative inside of Ads Manager, and some of these newer updates I'm pretty excited about, some a little bit less so. So let's dive in. 4th update, persona-based text generation. So now you're essentially going to be able to generate different primary text for your different personas. I think this is going to be a cool one to use after you find winning copy or copy that seems to do really well for you, and trying to expand that to either broader or more niche audiences so that you can see if that improves performance potentially. Number 5, I am very excited about translation text generation. And to my understanding, this text translation is only going to be available for your primary text, your headline, and your description, not necessarily what's in your ad creative just yet, but I could very easily see Meta start to go in that direction. This one, again, I am really, really excited about. I was on a panel earlier this year that was hosted by Hype 10, and the founder, Max, actually shared that one of the big growth levers they had with their brands that were spending in the high 6 figures, low 7 figures on Meta ads was actually just creating ads in Spanish. And sometimes they weren't even translating that to the landing page or homepage experience where they were actually driving that traffic. And it was something that they saw a lot of success in. So I am really excited to be able to just think more globally and have more localized languages, especially for the brands where we are advertising overseas and not just in the US. And number 6, they've also expanded their image generation to include more of your brand. So now you're going to be able to incorporate your brand logos, your fonts, your colors, and even some more visualization and tone features that really symbolize your brand. I can see that Meta is really trying to make the effort to make the ad creative that is being generated with Gen AI more on brand for brands. However, I personally don't think that many brands that I work with or many of the brands that are watching this channel are going to utilize it unless you're brand new and just starting off and you don't have those creative operations. But I am really curious to hear if some of you have been testing this out. I've definitely tested it out on a few brands, and what's interesting is sometimes I'll actually see things perform really, really well that have been generated with Meta's Gen AI creative features. And it's my personal belief that they are, sort of rewarding brands who do this and try this. That's definitely not an official statement from Meta, so don't come for me for it. But I have heard similar sentiment from other advertisers who lean into these new capabilities or features when they first come out. Additionally, they also have 2 updates on video generation. So the first one is you're now going to be able to generate video from multiple images. So again, this is another thing that I think is going to be useful and helpful for those smaller brands without creative ops to test into. And it's something that I'm definitely going to be trying out with a few of the brands where I'm like, hey, we know that these images have worked really well, or this type of imagery has worked really well. Let's see what we can get from this video generation feature. However, I am a little bit more excited about the second update here, which is you are now going to be able to have video chapters on your actual video. So this is actually really similar right now to the experience that we have on YouTube. So you are watching this on YouTube and you can see that I have video chapters located on this video. We're now going to be able to have that on Instagram and Facebook. And what's interesting is my experience as a YouTuber is I actually haven't seen conclusive evidence that this actually helps out a ton. There is, however, some evidence to show that it helps out a little bit with SEO and ranking, so I do try to do it as much as I can. But I think that this could be a little bit interesting for brands particularly who have longer ad creative. So I have seen success with a lot of brands over the last few years utilizing longer video sales letters or VSLs. And I also personally wonder if, hey, maybe this is a push from Meta's side to encourage advertisers to have a lot longer assets. So I have worked with a few brands that have had 3, 5, even 7-minute long ads. And I do wonder if we might start to see that become a little bit of the norm, especially as they are making this push with creators and partnership ads. And there's a trend on organic social with having TV or episodic style content. So they might just be preparing for more of that content to come down the ads pipeline. Again, lots of theory there, but that's kind of what I'm thinking when I see updates like this. And the next update, really important for apparel brands particularly, is going to be virtual try-ons. So we're going to be able to see clothing directly on a virtual model in different shapes and sizes, which is really great for brands that don't have a ton of lifestyle content. Something that I actually suggest to a lot of apparel brands is to show your clothing in different size ranges and to actually call that out. Hilera and Hill House are both two brands that I have seen do this really well, and I've heard that that content performs great for them. So very, very interested to see that one and test that one out with some of the apparel brands that I'm working with. And then the final one, I think this one's kind of fun, but they are also launching creative call to action stickers. I personally think that anytime you have a bigger, more enticing CTA, it's going to make people want to click on it. Now, I think further down the line, Meta can really create some cool interactive features that happen when you actually click on it. I think of the way actually that Apple created some more interactive features on iMessage and the usage of those, seeing that go up. Now, the next two updates, the final ones that I'm gonna go over in this video particularly, are all about WhatsApp. And again, I think if you are a global brand, particularly ones that utilize WhatsApp a lot more than we do in the US, which is on the rise, I think this could be really, really interesting and something that I would highly encourage you playing with. But if you want me to do a bigger deep dive on WhatsApp ads, please let me know in the comments, because this isn't something that I've talked a ton about, but I have been testing out again with more of those global brands that I'm working with. So update number 10. The introduction of WhatsApp channels and then the monetization of those channels. So similar to the way that Instagram has channels, you are now going to be able to have those on WhatsApp to essentially create a community where you can broadcast directly to your users. And Meta is also allowing you to monetize those channels so that you can have those be featured front and center. But I'll say personally, as a user, I'm not a huge fan of channels. I just kind of feel like it's like another way for brands to blast me. However, I really do enjoy some channels from creators. So I think a really cool strategy that brands could potentially test out here on the WhatsApp side as well as the Instagram side is having a channel be directly from the founder. Think like founder diary notes for a brand. I think that's something that I haven't seen yet, but I would personally be really, really interested in. So if you end up testing that out, let me know. And then the final update for WhatsApp is you're now going to be able to have ads in the updates section. I think I'm just really interested in general, especially for my global brands, to see the breakdown of how more content is going to start being delivered to WhatsApp. I do know though, as a user, when I used to use Messenger more, I got really big marketing blindness. So I wonder if that will also potentially happen on WhatsApp. Not super sure, but I think it is just really another way for you to be able to show up and have more of that 360 experience, especially for those more global brands or brands that want to seem like they're more global. So there's that. Of course, these were the 11 updates that I personally heard when I was at Cannes and that press event. However, there were a lot more updates going around, especially at the Meta Performance Summit. Some things that I think you guys would be really interested in would be like the performance scorecard that's coming down the pipeline, as well as the rise in the conversation around incrementality. I really want to do a big video about incrementality specifically. So if you're interested in that, and you're curious about how you can start to use that incrementality optimization feature, or even how to think about how to look at that incrementality attribution inside of Ads Manager right now, let me know, because I am working on something special for you. All right, thank you so much for jamming with me. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Love you, bye.